for basically the creation or the establishment of the board. We want to keep a shell of the program there.
And then you want to opt in to certain features of the district at some future date, depending on circumstances.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
And I'm just not getting the rationale for this.
The rationale is, Madam Chair, is that the industry at this point has used this program successfully for the last 25, 30 years. And because of the declining nature of the industry, not all of those elements are needed. Neither is the full funding mechanism to keep those elements alive.
So is it, do the growers want to get out from under the $6 per hundredweight, or what do you foresee happening in the future to the positive side that would make you want to make operative features that you're sunsetting with this bill?
What we foresee is that a change in the cotton industry, and if for circumstances with the global cotton industry actually provide for an opportunity for more cotton to be grown in the state, then those growers and the cotton ginners that represent this, make up this program, could come together, go to the Secretary, and reinstitute those fees that they would now be sunsetting.
You know, I think this is a kind of a bill that's working at cross purposes. So it's you really are leaving a shell there that has no purpose, and I think there's probably, if you put your mind to it, a better way to handle this, either to sunset the entity and bring it back at some later date if the market changes or these factors that you're concerned about, or leave it as is.
I think one of the things that they're hoping to do is, for example, since they are less than half than they were originally, that they believe that, like the standards development and some of the assessment pieces for them and other like developmental features, those pieces all need to go away while keeping some of the liability and the restrictions on how much acreage they can plant and how many kinds they can plant. For example, if the board went away entirely, the restrictions on the kinds of cotton, which are now only 2, which are the best kinds, and the number of acres would no longer be limited. And they need to continue to have that limited shelter, but they just don't have the money to continue doing the everything else's. If the Secretary of Agriculture doesn't agree, then they can't make it inoperative anyway. So I don't think the Secretary will be in a position to do something that will be adverse to the total idea of why the board is set up.
And Madam Chair,
did you consider lowering the assessment? Would that work?
Well, that would probably be one of the things that they would look at, but I'm not sure that they want to lower the assessment as much as they want to keep the sheltered environment, but lower the number of activities. This is a totally industry-funded fund, and up until now, all of the things that they've been doing, they've been very happy doing, but they're in a period of time when they just can't do everything anymore. So I'm not in a position to tell you whether they have decided they might lower their fee on themselves or not, because I haven't asked them.
Madam Chair, there was discussion, and this has been an issue that's been discussed within the cotton industry and this board for quite some time. I've actually just, as you recommended, reduced the assessment to 0. It was the analysis of the board that didn't accomplish everything that they were looking to do. We also discussed the idea that you brought forward of sunsetting the entire law, but then that doesn't allow for the flexibility to act within market situations that might be created in the future. And so, agree, this is a new way, a new approach to deal with these types of industry issues. We've tried to be as creative and as protective as we possibly could, and ask at your indulgence with the cotton industry.
Madam Chair, I think the other situation is, and I appreciate what Mr. Brown is talking about and Ms. Fuller is talking about, but you know, as I looked at this, I don't know how you do what you're attempting to do and then do what you want to do. My recommendation to you, Mr. Brown, is that you put this thing on suspense for another couple of weeks or whatever it is and go back and work this thing out, because our analysis talks about being unconstitutional, what you want to do. And from that standpoint, I don't know how a single member of this committee, now that doesn't mean you're not going to get the votes, but I don't know how a single member of this committee can vote on this if in fact we know we've got a problem going into it. I mean, this is a structural problem within this commission now, and that is, you're saying we want to shut everything down except certain things, but you haven't given us a detail of what certain things are. So you ought to take this back to the board and say, we've got a little different kind of problem here. How do we solve it? And see if you can't get some specificity, because just in the broad general scope of things, I don't see how this works and don't see how anybody else thinks it will work, other than just a courtesy vote that gets you to the floor. You'd be much better off in suspense.
I would strongly recommend Senator Cox's advice.
Well,
Do you want to put it over till next Monday?
my client thinks that we should work on it on suspense and try to strengthen it. And again, I think
We can do that, and then we'll deal with it on the 27th.
excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Without objection. All righty.
These are ag discussions, not appropriations discussions.
Well, it really is a policy.
Through two ag committees.
Yeah, but it really is a policy issue. It's not it's not a finance issue.
Oh, finance, you never did tell us your thoughts.
We were neutral, note concerns on a prior version of the bill, and have not analyzed the most recent version.
All righty. Members, we'll take a 15-minute break right now. That means we'll convene at 5:35. Thank you.